Our guests on Let's Talk Jonesboro now are from the Northeast Arkansas chapter of the American Red Cross. And we have with us Pam Knapp-Carver and Dean Hanna. Welcome to Let's Talk.
Thank you.
We appreciate what you guys do. You know, everybody knows Red Cross, but not everybody knows what you do. We know that sometimes you provide housing. We know you provide disaster relief. But you have a day-to-day work schedule that's probably pretty busy and pretty hectic. Start us with your chores and a little bit, Pam, of what you guys do that people may not know about.
You know, I know when you said that, it struck me as the thing about working at the American Red Cross is it's very hard to have a schedule. Because
you can relate to that.
we really have to jump and run at a second's notice. And so whenever there's a house fire, which we respond to over one per day in Northeast Arkansas.
Is that right?
So we kind of come in and go to our desk and see what rolls out. You know, we have our normal paperwork and things that we have to do, but it's jump and run when something happens, and that's a daily affair.
So explain, Dean, how that plays out. Say we have a fire, you know the fire department's going to put out the fire. Mm-hmm. What's your role? Wendy, how do you come in and what do you do?
So the background of all of that is making sure that our volunteers out there in the field have what they need to be able to go out and accommodate and make sure that they can follow through on what we say we can do as Red Cross. So that goes into a large part of what we do on the daily basis is checking with those volunteers, making sure they have their training, making sure they have the materials to go out to take to everybody. But going back to what you said about the response, you know, we get a call, and based on where that is, we'll dispatch people to that area from that local area if we have people there or from outside that area. And they'll go and do an interview stint with the clients that are affected to see exactly what their needs are, and we'll give assistance based off of those needs.
What type of assistance?
So it could be anything from financial assistance to referrals to some of our partners. We have some great partners in Northeast Arkansas that we partner with to provide things that we don't. So long-term housing, mental health, health services. We most recently had an incident where we partnered with one of the humane societies to put some of the pets up that were affected by a house fire because the hotel would not, let the
pets.
Yep. So we have some great partners that we work with throughout Northeast Arkansas.
Right. Now you told me you have been here with Red Cross for 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
right? Pam, how long have you been with Red Cross?
You know, I figured that up yesterday for one of our volunteers, and as of July this year, I will be 35 years.
My goodness. And it's, I guess you feel a lot of empathy when you work with an organization like this, but you also feel a lot of reward, don't you?
You know, that is what brings me to the office every single day, is I know without a doubt that we are making a difference in people's lives every day. We're making it during some of the toughest times of their life, we are making it just a little bit better.
That's fabulous.
So, you know, and it's anything from a house fire to a large disaster to a military family to someone needing blood. It's just every single day we are affecting lives.
Now, Dean, your role as disaster program manager,
Mm-hmm.
Disaster, that's pretty hefty. That's a strong title right there. Tell me what type of things you do. I mean, I'm sure it's a pretty broad scope, but
Yeah,
what's under your umbrella?
It's a very broad scope. I do want to first say that I can't do all of those things without the help of volunteers. So that's why we are a primarily volunteer organization, because the things that we try to get accomplished and our mission and our scope of the Red Cross cannot be accomplished without volunteers. So even in my duties of making sure that we get volunteers what they need, I have a leadership team of volunteers that help me do that as well. So some of the duties would be just calling the volunteers, making sure they got what they need, then making sure that their hours are in the system, making sure our volunteers are appreciated, that they feel well. Another thing that we really do and that we've really stepped up on is making sure that the mental health of our volunteers are good. We partner with some of the mental health professionals out at ASU so that we can give that assistance to the clients and our volunteers as well, because that does take a toll on them as a whole. So just the main scope of making sure they have what they need, making sure that they're following through on everything, and making sure our clients' needs are met.
Gotcha. Pam, how many volunteers do you have
Right around 200
in Northeast Arkansas?
in Northeast Arkansas. And I want to back up a little bit on what he said.
Okay.
Yes, we can't do what we do without our volunteers. We cover 19 counties. We have 3 staff in our office, me, Dean, and a volunteer services person that we just got within the last 6 weeks.
Wow.
So it was he and
Just
I
us for a
for
long time.
years. However long he's been here, that's how long it's been just me and him. But Dean oversees day-to-day disasters like fires. When the buck stops here, it's there.
That's weird.
So making sure those home fires are taken care of, making sure those straight line winds that go through some small community, make sure that's taken care of, the tornadoes, the floods, anything from the big floods to the little floods, the preparedness, making sure our families and children are prepared to know what to do during a disaster.
I think it's pretty wonderful to have, that's one of the things we take for granted as Americans is we have someone who shows up at our lowest point that's not trying to make a dollar off of us. And so you guys are invaluable, and there's no way to show the appropriate appreciation for what you do. And one of the things you're doing right now is called the Sound the Alarm campaign. Can you tell us what that is?
For the past 2 years, 3 years, we have been involved with the Sound the Alarm campaign, and it is a national campaign. Every day, 7 lives are lost due to home fires in this country. And the American Red Cross saw that if homes had smoke alarms, we could save some lives. And so a 5-year initiative, and we are putting smoke alarms in those homes that do not have working smoke alarms. No cost to anyone. We get volunteers to install them. And for the past 2 years, Dean and I have worked together to make this like our signature event. And we've installed over 1,000 alarms in homes for the past 2 years. This year, we're expanding it a little bit. And we're putting in those smoke alarms on May the 4th across Northeast Arkansas. But we're also doing some other things to make it more about the entire mission of the Red Cross and touching more services by we're having our kickoff, and then we're doing our preparedness training in the schools where we're teaching the children 3rd through 5th grade about how to be prepared for disasters through our pillowcase project. And if you don't mind, I'll show you.
Yeah, show us what you got.
My props here. So this is a program that Disney sponsors for the American Red Cross, and it's a pillowcase. And during Hurricane Katrina, it was discovered that many of the people who went to the Superdome, when they finally evacuated, they just grabbed their pillowcase, stuffed what they needed in it, and took off to the Superdome.
Huh.
So we took
Became
that.
a suitcase.
Yeah, it did. It became their luggage. And so seeing that, we've made a children's program that, as you see here, it lists some of the things that a child may want in their disaster kit. And the Disney characters, and our volunteer trainers go into the schools. They provide the children with markers, and they get to color the characters and write what they want to in here. And we talk to them about the things that they need to put in this bag, and then or this pillowcase. And then we start them off with a couple of things like a little first aid kit.
We do
and
a packet of water.
What a great idea.
Yeah.
And
One of the things about this program, I have 2 young children, so 2 and 5, Olivia and Cruz,
great.
is when they're at school and they learn something, they're coming home, Daddy, 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 Daddy,
gonna
look at
tell
this.
you.
When they learn this at school, I know that they're going home, Mama, Mama, Daddy, Daddy, Grandma, Grandma, and just to know that that conversation is being started in the home about safety is rewarding for us, but rewarding to know that we're impacting and trying to save lives.
So
too.
by educating the children, you're educating the adults at the same time. almost.
the whole family.
Yep.
Right.
And we're hearing back from families who have said, the tornado siren went off, and
Right.
the parents are walking around like nothing's going on, and the kids are saying, hey, come on,
we
let's
gotta
go.
go.
We gotta go. We gotta get ready. This is what we're supposed to do. So we're doing this program in several schools, and then we have a mission mixer where we will be talking to people about all of our programs that under our mission. And then we have our blood drive, which is the Battle of the Badges.
Gotcha.
And that is going to be a lot of fun because it's going to be a competition between the Jonesboro Police and Fire Department and the Paragould Police and Fire Department.
To see who can give the most blood?
Who can get the most blood that one day on May 9th.
Wow. Well,
So we're going to be hoping that the community will come out and support both of those departments, and we'll see how much blood we can collect that day to save lives.
that's great. That's great. Now you've got some more props. You've got fire detector. Now
Yes.
it's great that you put fire detectors in the homes. Did the police department? I mean, does the fire department help with that? Is that
Oh yeah. So so going back to what I do, a large part of what I do is making sure we have a good relationship with our emergency managers in Northeast Arkansas and our fire departments and volunteer fire departments. The Jonesboro Fire Department has been exceptional, in helping us with this campaign over the past few years. They install the alarms for us, and then when we do the campaign, they come out, they bring the trucks, they roll them down the streets, turn on the siren so people know, hey, we're here and we're here to save lives and get these alarms installed. So them, and along with all the other departments, I don't think we've had any bad dealings with fire departments as
That's
of yet
great.
when it comes to this, because they have the same mission as us, and that's
Right.
saving lives. So.
saving lives? And it doesn't save a life. Unfortunately, you can get one of these installed. You can have your batteries in it, and after a year or two, you're going to start hearing a little chirp. 10-year, that's the one I need. That's the one I need.
We
the
can put that
10-year.
in there for you. You
Well,
let me know.
bring it over when we're done here, because
Yes,
a 10-year
we're installing.
battery-
We ask the families, and they go through an education process. So when we go out and install these alarms, we're also teaching the family, or telling them, check it, just like you would if you had a regular smoke alarm. You got to change the batteries. But we also talk to them about creating an escape plan if there's a fire, how to build a disaster kit and all that. But these alarms, we're putting 2 to 3 in each home, and they are a 10-year alarm. And if anyone finds that their alarm is not working, we want them to call us so that we can go out there and get it replaced. And another very cool thing, for those folks out there who have hearing impairment, who may not hear an alarm, we have an alarm that actually works with the bed, that it slips under the mattress, and if the smoke alarm goes off, it triggers it and makes
And
the
it
bed
shakes
shake.
the bed.
That's fabulous.
Yeah, and that's free as well. Most
so-
people always
It's
ask
free
us,
as
and
well.
it's all free. Yes.
Every bit of this is free. So we will be putting in over 1,000 smoke alarms this year. These alarms. So
Well, that's very nice. That's very nice, and that's You know, that chirper is pretty loud, and so if it goes off in the middle of the night, you might be inclined. I'm not speaking from personal experience. I'm just making this up, right? You might be inclined to reach up and pull the battery out and go back to bed and not focus on the next day
Right.
getting the battery back in there. But that's important.
Yeah.
It
It's
is so
important.
important.
And one of the cool things about these, they have a lithium-ion battery, so the battery is actually inside, so you can't just go and say, "I'm gonna take the battery. I'm cooking bacon, so I'm gonna take the
Oh,
battery
man.
out." You know, it's got to be in there.
That
so.
is the downside. You
Yep.
can't, you can't blacken a steak in the
That's true.
kitchen with the fire alarm going.
But that's when our fire departments and those folks that know where to place these in the homes, so they're the most effective and won't drive you crazy.
And if you're in Jonesboro, you can call Jason Wills at the fire department. He's the guy there. He'll be more than happy to tell you exactly where it goes. And you
Well,
can tell him Dean sent you.
I'll tell him. I'm going to tell him to come cook my steak.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
that's good. That's fabulous.
One more thing I want to say about the fire alarm is that we just started a new smoke alarm program that's all throughout the year. It's getasmokealarm.org. And so if someone wants a smoke alarm, they can go to getasmokealarm.org, enter their information. It'll come to our office, and we'll work with that local fire department and get that installed in their home.
Getasmokealarm.org.
Yes.
Wonderful. That's a fabulous idea. You also are famous for blood drives. How often can a person give blood? How painful is it? I know you always hear somebody, "Oh, I can't give blood. I can't stand it." Nobody likes the sight of blood, especially their own blood, probably. So, tell us about your blood drives and what type. Does it matter what type you have, and how long can it last? How long can you keep blood? And why is it so important to give?
You can give blood every 56 days.
Wow. Okay.
The shelf life varies on the blood, whether you're giving blood or you're giving plasma,
Platelets.
or just platelets, or just the red blood cells. There's different ways that you can give, but the shelf life on each is different. And I don't have those statistics with me.
What's the difference in giving blood and giving platelets? Does it hurt? Do one of them hurt more?
No, you're just gonna get stuck.
So,
You're gonna get stuck no
I've
matter what
given
happens?
platelets recently, and they actually give you your blood back.
Give my blood back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Part
give
of
you
it.
they give you part of your blood back, but they keep the platelets.
Huh.
So.
You can do that, huh? All right, science.
So and that's not every 56 days. There's some that you can do every 2 weeks, and then there's processes that you have to wait 3 months before you can do it again. It just depends on the need. A lot of time it's your blood type. Anyone who is negative or O or positive can do what we call double reds. And that's where you're giving your red blood cells, but your plasma and everything is going back in. So it just depends. But we have got to get better at educating our public on the need of blood and how important it is that blood is there.
Are there actual shortages? Because I don't know that anybody drives around and thinks, you know what, today is a good day for me to give blood. You have to be made aware. And so we're trying to make people aware of the need to give blood.
There are shortages.
Okay.
And we have had shortages this year, historical
Really?
shortages. And yes, we're under an urgent blood appeal right now, and it saves lives.
Is it
it's
nationwide? Is it?
Yes.
Is it okay?
Yes,
So right now you can save a life by giving blood.
absolutely,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Matter of fact, you could save 3.
And right now there are people dying in some place where they could live if they had blood bank donations.
Yeah, and
That's a sobering thought right there.
It is, and, I can tell you a true story. we had a child here in Northeast Arkansas that we did a drive for yesterday, and the little girl needs a treatment every 6 weeks, and it's plasma. She needs plasma.
Bless her heart.
And so she was supposed to have gotten it, and she couldn't get her treatment because there was none there because of the shortage. And she ended up waiting like 3 months before she could get her treatment. Now, this is one of our own right here in Northeast Arkansas. She is one of others that are not getting the blood that they need because people are not giving.
Well, that's
because
something that
they
we
don't
can
want the
fix.
stick.
Yeah,
You know?
and that's something we should fix as human beings, as Arkansans, as Jonesboro and Craighead County, Northeast Arkansas residents. That's something we should fix.
You know, we have our blood center here on Grant Street
Okay.
that you can go in Monday through, they're open Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and closed on Fridays. And you can give there at the center. We have a mobile unit that's out and about all the time. You can go to redcrossblood.org and look and see where the blood drives are in your area and go and support those drives.
You also serve military families. Tell me why that's a need.
You know, we are mandated by Congress to be the liaison between the men and women serving in our armed forces and their families at home. Now, back in the day when I first started, we didn't have, I remember getting the fax machine and thinking it was awesome. So we certainly didn't have the cell phones and everything where we could just call Afghanistan or Kuwait and talk to our loved ones. But our military depends on us to verify information so that they can make a decision on whether to extend leave to one of our military members. For example, you have a service person serving in Kuwait.
Mm-hmm.
Their mom is here in Jonesboro and has suffered a heart attack, critical condition, don't know let's say the wife calls the serviceman, says your mom's really bad, you need to come home. He goes and tells his commander, you know, I need to go home.
Right.
Call the Red Cross. And then what happens is we get in touch with that family and then get in touch with the doctors, and we verify the information. We make sure that the doctor recommends that the serviceman come home, and that if there's a life expectancy, that to know how urgent it is to get them out quickly. And that serviceman or woman is not going to get leave until that American Red Cross does that. Wow. And it's something that so many people don't realize that we do this.
Right.
So whenever someone enlists into one of our armed forces, we try to always be there to give the family and the service member that information, you know, saying during emergency, yes, you can call them, but call us too, so that we can quickly get those communications.
Well, then,
going.
loved ones, if you have a family member in military service, this is an important piece of information that you need to know too. Red Cross is there for you. I assume it takes quite a bit of fundraising to make the Red Cross work. What do you guys do? How do you get your enough money to do what you do?
You know, it's through the generosity of our communities. We are not funded by the government. It is strictly through going out, telling our stories, talking about the mission, the lives that we affect, and hope that we tell that story well enough that that person wants to give, or that company. And then, of course, we are a member of the United Way, who is a great supporter of ours.
United Way does a lot of great stuff. But again, Not everyone, a lot of good people, but not everyone wakes up every day and says, you know, today's a good day to give money, if not blood, to the Red Cross. So we need to remind everyone to think that way too, because you're always doing good things.
Yeah, and a lot of the things that we do are kind of, it feels like it's in the background, because we're up in the middle of the night responding to a house fire, and by the time the lights come back on in the morning, we have them in a hotel, we're working on their recovery plan, different things like that. So it's not as out in the community as it could be, but it's just the nature of when we respond and when things happen and whatnot. So we are the primary sheltering lead for the United States.
Okay.
So we're mandated to be the primary sheltering lead for the United States. So if a big disaster happens and
During
they
a
need to open up
disaster.
shelters, yeah, we
Gotcha.
are that.
And it may not be a disaster. It could be that a train is derailed and a community needs to evacuate their homes because toxins are in the air or whatever. The Red Cross is going to be called to assist with setting up something for those families too. So
Same thing for like mass casualty situations. Hope
Right.
they never happen, but when those things happen, we are the place that they would go to be able to receive information, and we be that conduit between. So
Now, I guess if my cable or Wi-Fi goes out, you're not the people to call?
no,
you know, we
we
haven't
could
gotten
give
there
you
yet.
I can give you a recommendation.
That's pretty heroic right there, if you're willing to do that. But I won't call under those circumstances.
That being said, I bet we've got some volunteer
Two.
IT people
Yeah,
who could do it
we
if
do
they
have
had
some.
time.
We have some good
But they
ones.
don't
yeah.
have
Too
time
kind.
during
No,
a
true.
disaster.
I'm not going to ask for that service. I'm pretty brazen,
Absolutely.
but we're not going to go there. Well, guys, thank you so much for what you do, your work every day. I know you don't do it for a whole lot of money. You do it because you have a whole lot of heart. And we are very grateful to the Northeast Arkansas chapter of the American Red Cross. We've got Pam Knapp and we've got Dean Hanna, and we're so grateful that they took the time to visit with us on Let's Talk Jonesboro. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.